Dying Light 2 Stay Human. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is an action role-playing survival horror video game featuring a zombie apocalyptic-themed open world. Set 22 years after Dying Light, it stars a new protagonist named Aiden Caldwell, voiced by Jonah Scott, who is equipped with various parkour skills. Players can perform actions such as climbing ledges, sliding, leaping off from edges, and wall running to quickly navigate the city. It was confirmed that there are over 3,000 parkour animations to give a more fluid free-running experience. Tools such as a grappling hook and a paraglider also aid traversal in the city. Aiden can also use the undead to break his fall. The game is mostly melee-based with the majority of fighting using melee weapons. The melee weapons have a limited lifespan and will degrade as the player uses them in combat. Long-range weapons such as crossbows, shotguns, and spears can be used as well. Weapons can be upgraded with different blueprints and components, which can be found by breaking down weapons for craft parts. Aiden can also utilize superhuman skills due to the infection. New zombies have been added. Like the first game, the zombies are slow when exposed to sunlight, but they become more aggressive and hostile at night. The game is set in the city of Villator, a massive urban open world set in Europe that players can explore freely. The map, which is 4 times bigger than the original game, is broken into 7 distinct regions, and each has its own landmarks and locations. When exploring the city, players can scavenge different scraps and resources for crafting new items and weapons. In the game, players meet different factions and settlements, and have to make different decisions that would fundamentally change the state of the game's world and how non-playable characters view Aiden. The consequences are far-reaching, with the player being able to bring prosperity to a faction while completely destroying another settlement. Making certain decisions will open up or seal off areas in the city, encouraging players to complete multiple playthroughs. Like its predecessor, the game features 4-player cooperative multiplayer. The zombie outbreak in Heron ended with the death of all of the city's citizens, with no reported survivors. However, the global relief effort, GRE, is able to develop a vaccine for the Heron virus, THV, ending the threat of the zombie pandemic. Unfortunately, despite promises to cease all research on THV, the GRE continued experimenting on the virus in secret. In 2021, a mutated variant of THV escapes a GRE lab and starts a second pandemic that spreads even faster than the first, quickly sweeping across the entire world in an event called the Fall. The vaccine and antizin are ineffective against the new strain of THV, but its effects can be suppressed with ultraviolet light. 15 years after the Fall, human civilization has been reduced to a handful of scattered human settlements, with the walled European city of Villator being the last known remaining city on Earth. Originally quarantined by the GRE, Villator was spared the worst of the pandemic, thanks to its quarantine walls, also keeping the hordes of infected out of the city. However, control of the city is split between several factions, including the militarist peacekeepers, the independent survivors of the bazaar, and the violent renegades. The main protagonist Aiden Caldwell is a pilgrim, an individual brave enough to travel between human settlements. He decides to make the journey to Villator in order to search for his lost sister, Mia. Aiden makes his way to the city of Villator after being notified that there is an informant that knows the whereabouts of Dr. Waltz, a doctor who experimented on Aiden and Mia when they were children, in hopes that Dr. Waltz knows Mia's location. Aiden meets the informant, but is bitten by a volatile and infected. The informant gives Aiden a working GRE electronic key, warning him that, if Waltz gets his hands on it, Villator is doomed. He also instructs Aiden to take the key to the fisheye and hand it to a woman named Lawan. The informant is then captured and executed by Waltz while Aiden flees, making his way into Villator proper. Due to lacking a biomarker, which tracks the progress of a person's infection, Aiden is nearly executed by fearful citizens, but is saved by Haken, one of the locals. Haken explains tensions in Villator are high due to a peacekeeper officer, Lucas, having been recently murdered, and the peacekeepers believe the survivors of the bazaar are responsible, risking the outbreak of war between the two factions. Haken helps Aiden obtain a biomarker and tries to smuggle him into Villator's central district, where the fisheye is located. Aiden is captured by the peacekeepers, and the local officer, Ader, is willing to help Aiden get into the central district if he finds Lucas's killer. Aiden then approaches the bazaar's leaders, Carl and Sophie, and helps them to earn their trust. However, Sophie finds out about Aiden's collaboration with Ader and gives a counter-offer that if Aiden helps secure the bazaar's water supply, she will smuggle him into the central district. At this point, it is up to Aiden to decide whether he will side with the peacekeepers or the bazaar, as both sides go to war. Regardless of who Aiden sides with, he discovers that Haken killed Lucas on Waltz's orders. Waltz confronts Aiden, demonstrating superhuman abilities as he steals the GRE key from him. Aiden pursues Waltz to an abandoned car factory, where he attempts to use the key to activate a machine before Lawan intervenes, incapacitating Waltz long enough for Aiden to recover the key and escape. Lawin reveals that she was also one of Waltz's test subjects and seeks revenge against him, and that Lucas was murdered by Waltz after originally finding a GRA key. With the key, Aiden and Lawin are able to enter the central district, where they see electricity suddenly be restored to the city. Aiden then meets with the commander of the Peacekeepers, Jack Matt, and the former leader of the now-defunct Night Runner group, Frank. They both task Aiden with reactivating the radio antenna atop Villator's highest skyscraper, so that they can broadcast messages to all of Villator and the settlements beyond, and in return they can help Aiden with finding a surviving GRA doctor, so that he can access the GRA database. After reactivating the tower, Aiden spends the night with Lawin, who confides that her hate for Haken stems from his betrayal of the Night Runners, leading to the entire group being wiped out. Aiden then learns that the GRA doctor's identity is Dr. Veronica Ryan, a Bazaar resident. Aiden returns to the Bazaar and finds Veronica, who is on the run from the renegades. Together, they head to a GRA facility called the Observatory, where the GRA database is located. Aiden accesses the database, but doesn't find any helpful data to find Mia, and inadvertently reactivates a GRA failsafe protocol calling missile strikes to destroy Villator. Waltz arrives to take the key, and while fighting him, Aiden loses control of his infection, and kills Veronica just as a missile destroys the observatory and Waltz escapes with the key. Lawin pulls Aiden from the debris, and he warns her that Waltz's experiments on him means he will inevitably turn. However, he can't stop Lawin from going after the leader of the renegades, Colonel Williams. Williams claims he originally stopped the missile strikes, but Waltz has resumed him. Not wanting to see Villator destroyed, Williams tells Aiden to head for the X-13 lab to confront Waltz and stop the missiles before committing suicide. Aiden and Lawin enter the complex, and are shocked to find that X-13 was supposed to be a survival shelter for GRA officials, with massive stockpiles of supplies. Lawin rescues Haken, after he tries to protect them from the renegades, leaving Aiden to continue alone. As he journeys through X-13, he realizes it is the same facility he was experimented on. Aiden finally confronts Waltz, who reveals that Aiden's memories were incorrect, and that Mia is actually Waltz's daughter who he has been trying to cure for the past 15 years. Waltz refuses to abort the missile launches, as that will interrupt the process to cure Mia, forcing Aiden to battle him. Aiden finally manages to defeat Waltz, who succumbs to his wounds. Lawin then tells Aiden she plans to detonate explosives to destroy the missiles, before they can launch, which will destroy X-13. Aiden must choose to either try and save Mia, or save Lawin. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and if you do, please throw me a like, subscribe and comment down below what you guys think. Also, please let me know what you guys want me to make a video about. Have a good day and goodbye.